Hi everyone, it's Liam here from Rating the Races. So today we're going to have a look at some of the racing tomorrow and what catches my eye and what's interesting. There's a few pointless races in my opinion, and we'll come on to those, but there's a few that you definitely want to watch, and there's a few that I think or I am going to have a bet in, and potentially going forward looking at some of those for Cheltenham as well. So the first race that we wanted to talk about was this race at Naas, featuring Sir Alan, Biker, Jazzy Matty, Metamorphosis, Morning Soldier and Al Muhit. Now, what's interesting about this race is 3 of the last 4 years, the winner of this has gone on to win the Fred Winter at the Cheltenham Festival. When I say Fred Winter, I'm sure most of you know what I mean. It's now called the Boodles Juvenile Handicap Hurdle. And I'm just going to check something on my other screen very quickly. Yeah, so the horse I'm interested in here is obviously top rated. I think the last time out effort was a good performance. Also, that horse beat Calico. Now, I'd got my eye on Calico for the Fred Winter for a long time. Sir Alan beat Calico, and then I said, I'll keep an eye out who comes out of that race and runs at Naas, and it's Sir Alan, the winner. So, probably ideally Calico could have done with winning that. He didn't. Sir Alan has, and I've got a feeling that Sir Alan they're trying to do the same route as previous winners of the Fred Winter, of the Boodles Juvenile Handicap Hurdle, and winning this and then going on to win the Fred Winter. What sort of prices is he? So Sir Alan's as big as 50 to 1 for the Triumph Hurdle. A 50 to 1 shot for the Triumph Hurdle, even if he wins this, which is just a novice hurdle. Is he going to be a Triumph Hurdle horse with the likes of Lossymouth and Blood Destiny, Gala Marceau, Comfort Zone, etc. in the race? No. He's got to be aimed at that Boodles Juvenile Handicap Hurdle, and you can currently get down here, you can still get 20 to 1 non-runner no bet. So just in case he did win, ridiculously easy tomorrow, and he ended up running in the Triumph, you'd still get your money back. But I think this is where he's going to end up. I think he'll end up in this, where's he gone? Sir Alan, there he is. I think he'll end up in this race, the Fred Winter, or the Boodles Juvenile Handicap Hurdle, and I'm happy to take 20 to 1 about him. You can get 33 to 1 if you want to go and not have that non-runner no bet concession. It's probably not a bad idea, because surely he runs in this and not the Triumph Hurdle. He'd have to win by half the track to even be thought of as a Triumph Hurdle horse, and to be honest, I don't think he's going to, because the likes of Jazzy Matty and Metamorphosis, they've done all right, to be fair. But yeah, I'm just going to go with Sir Alan probably for tomorrow as well. You can't get a price, I don't think, about them for tomorrow. Oh yes, you can. 7 to 2, Metamorphosis 9 to 4. I think Sir Alan should probably be the favourite, and I wonder whether there's a bit of Gordon Elliott, Paul Nolan versus Andrew Slattery and Mr. Ryan. I'm quite keen on this Calico. He's the one that I think was the Gordon Elliott one, trying to get handicapped for the Fred Winter. He's not made it, or unlikely to make it, and I think Sir Alan will be the one that Mr. Slattery runs. So, moving on to the next race, I wanted to talk about this. It's a bit of a pointless race. McFabulous wins that, doesn't he? Paul Nicholls is loving these top weight running in handicaps. He's clearly only doing this for more experience, probably a bit like Stage Star, because if he wanted to actually target a race over 3 mile, surely they would have gone for that Kempton race where he's finished first and second in his 2 runs there, for 85 grand instead of 13. I thoroughly expect McFabulous to win and then end up in the Grade 1 at Cheltenham. But, he is 4 to 9. Similar story for Love Envoy. Surely she wins this Mayor's Hurdle, or she's got to if she's going to be a Mayor's Hurdle contender. The one I am, again, keeping my eye on is Indefatigable. What mark does she get after this race? If she disappoints and drops another couple of pounds, she's going to be crazy well handicapped for that Coral Cup or the Martin Pipe. She won it a couple of years ago off, I think, 145. She's got already 142. If she ended up at 140, she would have a huge chance in one of the handicaps, not the Mayor's Hurdle. You can currently get, so she's 25s and 16s, you know, she's not going to win this. So keep an eye on her handicap mark. Another one that I think is, you know, what was the point in this? It's another schooling session for John Bon. Should win this quite comfortably. Just for reference, that is not the Calico I was just referring to. That is a different Calico. This one is trained by Dan Skelton. The Calico I was referring to is an Irish-trained, Gordon Elliott-trained horse. So don't get those mixed up. In terms of John Bon, I mean, if you look at the Arkle, the likes of El Fabiolo, Appreciate It, and all those horses that ran in that Irish Arkle are coming off the back of a proper race. John Bon's going to turn up off the back of a nothing race and a schooling session. And that could easily be the difference if he doesn't know what to do when under pressure, whereas some of the others, you know, those Irish horses will know what to do, especially El Fabiolo. John Bon is currently 1-4, 1-5 for this race. You know, it's not a race to have a bet in. So this race I do want to have a bet in, and I'm just going to load up a quick tweet on my other screen whilst I talk about this. The one I like here is Mr. Coffee. Now, I highlighted for Premium and Pro members that if he ran here, I felt he was trying. And if he wasn't running here, I felt he wasn't going to be trying if he ended up taking on McFabulous. Now, I am going to use this tweet that somebody has highlighted. When I saw who had been booked for Mr. Coffee, it's Mr. Derek O'Connor. I then thought, okay, he's being carefully looked after for the Kim Muir, with the Kim Muir in mind. Now, Joe Bone, that is his name, on Twitter, thank you for this tweet. He highlighted something that's been mentioned here, look. And it says, I've got to get a run into him. Correct. At least he talks to have cut in the ground, which he loves. This is a stepping stone for the National Hunt Chase, which is an amateur riders race. Derek O'Connor is on a get-to-know-him mission. I fully expect him to win tomorrow, even on the back of that comment that, you know, it's a get-to-know-him session. These horses in behind are nowhere near what he's been running against. He's much, much better than these, I believe. And I think he will take all of the beating here and then go on to the National Hunt Chase. Now, the National Hunt Chase is not a handicap. So winning here doesn't actually matter. I'm just quickly checking something on my other screen. So yeah, it doesn't matter if he wins here. Obviously, if he was running in the Kim Muir, which is a handicap, he only had a few pound to play with. What would he have had? £5. He was rated 140, or is rated 140. He needed to be 145 or less. So even if he doesn't win, you know, they might switch their attention to go Kim Muir. But the fact that they've mentioned this National Hunt Chase, and they've got an entry in the Grand National, they clearly feel that he wants a bit further. And maybe he's been running these really good races over trips that have been too short. He should have won the Kim Muir last year. Sam Whaley-Cohen was far too confident on him. You know, and if he was to win this race and go up £5 or £6, it'd be like 145, 146, turning up for a National Hunt Challenge Chase, which I think would put him nearly one of the highest rated horses. I know we've got that Mullins pair, Gaillard de Menil and Ramillies. Gaillard de Menil and that one. But yeah, I really like Mr. Coffee. You can see that a couple of bookmakers have started shortening with those comments in mind. You can still get, what can you get, non-runner, no bet? 12s. I actually don't think that's a bad price. I think he's a really good horse. And yeah, thank you to Joe for highlighting this, that he is going to go for the National Hunt Chase. With that in mind as well, I don't think tomorrow is a bad race to have a bet in because they're not looking after his handicap mark. Moving on to the 3 o'clock, it's another pointless race. So I hope John Bon was going to take on Grianatine. Give him a race. Learn more about John Bon. Know whether he is a proper Arkle horse or not. It kind of makes those two races pointless, that one and this one. Grianatine wins this comfortably and is priced accordingly. We then have a race that I do want to have a bet in. Now, in my Christmas eye catchers, I highlighted Rabaul when he finished second. I highlighted him and said his handicap mark of 130 was very interesting going into the race. Is the handicapper going to put him up? He didn't. He left him on 130, and I think that's a really workable mark. I'm quite keen on Rabaul, or very keen on Rabaul, to be honest, for tomorrow. Fully expect him to run a really big race. Now, interestingly, he did run last year. He made his debut in the Adonis and was quite weak that day. Now, Paul Nicholls and Nicky Henderson like to run a horse that they believe has a lot of potential in the Adonis. And that was his first run over hurdles, and they went straight into a Grade 2. So I think Paul already could see that this Rabaul had a bit of ability. And with that in mind, a handicap mark of 130, I'm sure, is a mark much lower than what he was expecting, or where he thinks Rabaul is. I'm sure he thinks he's a 140 plus horse. And with that in mind, I really like Rabaul for this race. He is 15 to 2, 7 to 1, 15 to 2 comfortably at most places. And I think he goes really, really well here. Two more races that I wanted to talk about. This one at Warwick, the 2-mile handicap hurdle. I was a big fan of Harter Dudery, or am a big fan of Harter Dudery. I think he is much better than that. He's clearly unexposed. He's only had the 4 runs and 3 for Dan Skelton. What you got to remember is he went off 13 to 8, favourite in a race with That's Alright Gino, JPR1, Washington, and Socialist Agenda. If we just had a look at those horses very quickly on my other screen. That's Alright Gino was last seen running off a mark of 138. JPR1 off 129. Washington off 126. And Socialist Agenda off 120. Harter Dudery is currently rated, going into this race, 117. And I think that's, he's got plenty still to come, Harter Dudery. Last time out, he was beaten by DeGello, who did disappoint next time, but then did run okay the following time. I think the fact it's at Warwick really helps. I think Dan obviously knows what he's doing at Warwick. He's got a very good record there, as you can see. And I personally think he's the one to beat in this race. And let's just have a look. He is currently 11 to 4 favourite. I think that's about right. If you can get 3 to 1, that would be even better. Final race I just wanted to give a quick mention about was this race at Newbury. Keep an eye on this. I think this could throw up the best British bumper horse. At the moment, it's for me, Fun, Chapeau de Soleil, Better Days Ahead, all Irish trained towards the head of the market. I think we might find that whoever can win this could go towards the head of the market especially for Britain. I think this is whoever wins this is going to be quite a decent horse. These are all good R figures, and the form looks really strong. So there's just a few thoughts. Just quickly looking at the prices. None of them actually take. I wouldn't want to have a bet because I don't know who's going to win it. Who do I want to have a bet on then? Sir Alan in the Fred Winter. Nope. Mr. Coffee in this handicap chase and the National Hunt Challenge chase. Rabaul in the Betfair Hurdle. And Harter Dudery in the 2-mile handicap hurdle at Warwick. Hopefully we've got a few winners there, and we'll keep an eye on their handicap marks for the Cheltenham Festival. Thanks for listening, and have a great weekend.